Tony Martinez.
Present.
Larry Hernandez. Adalberto Campero.
Present.
Luis Flores.
Present.
Okay. Mayor Hernandez. Mayor Pro Tem Carrillo. Assistant City Manager Analí Alanis. Okay, sorry, couldn't hear you. Bridge Director Luis Basan.
Present.
Director of Operations Fred Browen.
Present.
Finance Director Carla Saavedra.
I'm here, present.
Thank you. City Engineer Omar Ansandua.
We have Maria Rangel in his place.
Okay, perfect. Okay. We need a motion to excuse Larry Hernandez.
All right, we need a motion to excuse Larry Hernandez.
A motion.
Who was the motion?
Tony Martinez.
Tony Martinez. Any second?
Second.
Luis Flores seconds. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're gonna go ahead and go to item B, which is the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation, which reads, please stand at your location.
I'm looking at the flag outside our building here, so
I'm looking at
please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag,
to the flag,
United States of America,
United States of
to the republic,
republic,
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Lord, we are overwhelmed by the current situation. We can hardly find words, but we know you understand what we are going through. Oh, Father, help us. We know you promised to never leave us or forsake us. Be with us now. Help us know you are with us, and give us the strength we need today to make it through this trial. Give us hope that can only come from you. In your name we pray. Amen. And at this time, I'd like to take a quick moment of silence for Mr. Larry Hernandez, our board member, who is out today. His father passed away this weekend. So, moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you.
We're gonna move to the consent agenda, and we have the approval for the minutes for December. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong agenda. I have to pull it up real quick. One second. All right, we're going to go to item number 2, which is the Director's Administrative Report, and we're going to go to line item 8, which is Costs and Revenues Report for February and March 2020. And I'm assuming Fred's going to help us with that.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all. Fred Brown, Director of Operations at the Pharr Bridge. I'd like to present the costings and revenues for the month of February, fiscal year 2019-2020. On page number 3 of your package, we have the car crossings. These are cars that are traveling from U.S. to Mexico. For the month of February, we crossed a total of 41,743 cars, which represents a decrease of 18,359 cars. We show a decrease of 30.55% on cars. Also, I'd like to share with you other crossings from other ports of entry. We have, for the month of February, for the Gateway Bridge, a loss of 9,036 cars, 9% decrease. Vero en Los Tomates, a decrease of 1,695, 1% decrease. Free Trade Los Indios, an increase of 821 cars, 3% increase. A combination combination of all three bridges, a loss of 9,910 cars, which represents a decrease of 4%. Eagle Pass, they show an increase of 6,189, 3% increase. Laredo Bridge, an increase, of 2,830, 1% increase. The Hidalgo, McAllen Hidalgo Bridge, they had a loss of 6,768, 3% decrease. And San Luis Bridge, they show an increase of 2,108, an increase of 3%. The combination of both bridges, a decrease of 4,660, 2% decrease, a combination of both bridges. The Progressive Bridge, they show a loss of 8,403, a decrease of 17.88%. Lana Bridge, a decrease of 5,222, a decrease of 10.92%. And the Pharr Bridge, again, we show a decrease of 18,359, a loss of 30.55% for the month of February. Also, on the report, page number 4, we have the truck crossings. For the month of February, we show a total crossings. These are crossings that are crossing from the Pharr Bridge from the U.S. to Mexico. Total crossing 53,031 trucks, which represents an increase of 1,857 trucks, which represents an increase of 3.63% for the month of February. Also, I'd like to share with you all the truck crossings for the month of February on all ports of entry. We have Veterans Tomates, a decrease of 559, 26% decrease. Free Trade Los Indios, an increase of 872, 4% increase. Eagle Pass, they had a decrease of 458 trucks, 3% decrease. Laredo Bridge, they had an increase of 5,782, a 3% increase. The Pharr Bridge, we have an increase of 1,857 trucks, an increase of 4%. Progressive Bridge, an increase of 1,318, 35% increase. And the San Luis Bridge, 38 trucks decrease, which represents a decrease of 2%. This is for the month of February. On page number 5, we have the northbound. These are trucks that are crossing from Mexico to the U.S. We have a total northbound crossings, 54,534 trucks. For the month of February, we show an increase of 639 trucks, or a 1.90% over the same month in fiscal year 2018-2019. Also, I'd like to state that the agriculture trucks at the Pharr International Bridge total 15,969 crossings for the month of February, representing a 29% of all the imports from Mexico to the U.S. On page number 6, we have the revenues. Total revenue collected for the month of February, we collected a total of $1,171,034, which represents a decrease of $42,683, or a 3.52% decrease. Total revenue collected for the from October to February, we collected a total of $6,163,789, which represents an increase of $91,142. That concludes the report for the month of February. I'm going to go now with the crossings for the month of March. For the month of March, we have page number 3 on the car crossings. Total crossings for the month of March, we crossed a total of 33,670 cars, which represents a loss compared to last year's same month of 33,484, or a decrease of 49.86%. Also, I'd like to share with you all the car crossings from other ports of entry. We have Gateway, a loss of 26,501 cars, 26% decrease. Veterans Tomates, a loss of 27,182, 21% decrease. Free Trade Los Indios, 8,964, 25% decrease. A combination of all three bridges, a loss of 62,657 cars, or a 24% decrease. On the Eagle Pass, they didn't share the information. Hopefully I can get you that information next month. Laredo Bridge, they lost a total of 113,900 cars, which represents a loss of 27%. Hidalgo, a loss of 69,009 cars, 29% decrease. And San Luis, 24,855, 30% decrease. A combination of both bridges, a loss of 93,864 cars, or 29% compared to last year's same month. Progressive Bridge, they show a loss of 19,418 cars, 36.63% decrease. Donna Bridge, a loss of 18,172 cars, which represents a loss of 33.91%. And the Pharr Bridge, 33,484, a loss of 49.86%. As you see on the report, every single bridge was, losing cars. Definitely this month, April, will be pretty much the same. On page number 5, we have, page number 4, we have the truck crossings. Truck crossings for the month of March, we crossed a total of 57,548, an increase of 1,788 trucks, which represents an increase of 3.23%. Now, I would like to show you also the other ports of entry on trucks. We have Veteran Los Tomates, a decrease of 888 trucks, 4% decrease. Free Trade Los Indios, a total of 117 less trucks, 6% decrease. A combination of both bridges, 1,005 trucks, which represents a decrease of 4%. Laredo Bridge, they lost 284 trucks compared to last year, same month. Pharr Bridge, we had an increase of 1,788, an increase of 3%. Progressive Bridge, they had an increase of 990 trucks, which show an increase of 20%. And the Honduras Bridge, they had an increase of 466 trucks, which represents an increase of 29%. These are the trucks that are crossing from Mexico to the U.S. On the northbound, page number 5, we have these are the trucks that are coming from Mexico to the U.S. Northbound trucks at the Pharr International Bridge total 58,168 trucks for the month of March, which show a decrease of 60 trucks, or equals to 0.10% over the same month fiscal year in 2018-2019. I also like to say that the agriculture trucks at the Pharr International Bridge total 17,378 crossings for the month of March, representing 30% of all the imports from Mexico. Also on the agriculture side, the Pharr International Bridge import lot show a decrease of 1,474 trucks, or 8% decrease over the same month period in fiscal year 2018-2019.
Just for clarification, Fred and everyone, the previous one was actually U.S. to Mexico, and then the one you just gave was Mexico to the U.S.
Mexico to the U.S., yes. These are the ones that I just gave, some trucks coming from Mexico to the U.S., correct. Thank you. On page number 6, we have the revenues, total revenue collected for the month of March. We collected a total of $1,271,490, which represents a decrease of $66,431, or a negative 4.97%. Total revenue collected from October to March, we collected a total of $7,435,279, which represents an increase of $24,711 for the 6-month period compared to last year's same month. Board members, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my report for March. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Do we have any questions?
Just to add, Chairman, the numbers that I have here for April 1st through 14, right now we show a loss on trucks of 4,356 trucks, and total cars lost of 15,785. So definitely April will be, it's going to be a very negative, it's going to be a negative month for all ports of entry.
I think under the situation.
Fred,
yes.
No. I was going to mention that what the chairman was about to say. I think that's going to be across the board, all ports,
yes.
Land ports, seaports. We're seeing a lot of information, right? But I guess I can shine some light on some things that are happening within the produce sector. Consumption buying, the panic buying that happened when this initially was happening, has now staggered off and it's decreased. So a lot of the importers, and I want to talk specifically just what we're seeing here on our side, but a lot of the importers now are not bringing in as much product, whether it's dairy, fresh produce, meats, whatever, because the consumption rate at the grocery stores across the country has dropped down drastically. There's certain regions of the country that are most affected, like the Northeast. As we look at some of the consumption in the Southeast, like Georgia, like Florida, it's not as bad as it is up in the New York, Boston area. But I think right now the hardest hit being the Bay Area and the West Coast and the New York Metroplex. So April, just kind of what want to highlight what Fred mentioned. April, just speaking on ag, there's a lot of commodities that are being left in Mexico, or they're dropping drastically the inbounds because there's no sales, there's no movement. Easter, for example, is a really big ad period for mangoes, for limes. This was record low crossings across the board. So the trend will continue until this starts to normalize, right? Whenever that is, but that's something that's industry wide, and we're just kind of waiting for this to pass.
All right, thank you. Do we have anybody else that wants to comment?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, city administrators. So sure, I mean, going back to the numbers, and obviously we knew that was going to be the case with this meeting going forward. Obviously, there is no end in sight. We've also been tracking the numbers in Mexico as far as through Index, the Maquila associations, nationwide and citywide. And as of last week, we were already at about a 35 to 40% decline when it comes to manufacturers. Some of these manufacturers are either shutting down completely or are going to be on standby. And obviously that makes us, one of the biggest hits is in the automotive industry. And as of this week, we're hearing good news that the automotive industry might open up again. But remember, we have to be mindful that some of those shipments of those products or those components come from China, come from Japan, come from those areas. So it's difficult, obviously, to put together the remaining parts and put together one final product. So, and I also understand that the automotive industry, although they are talking of opening up their doors and continuing the trade from Mexico to the U.S., it's hinging also on USMCA, which my understanding, USMCA is now going to be pushed out to January, even though Canada already signed and pretty much it's a done deal. But I believe they're due to the COVID-19 situation, they're going to be postponing, putting it into action until next year, early next year, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully, again, everything will change, but and then you talk about truck driver shortages. We had already been experiencing that. Now more than ever, obviously, it's a good thing that we only have essential travelers on the road, which makes more way for trucks. But, there are also less trucks on the road. Shipments are taking longer to get to market. And some of these major companies, transportation companies or logistics companies that have been in existence for 40, 50 years. I mean, we've been hearing about some bankruptcies going on as well. So I think we're still in a very fortunate situation here at the Pharr Bridge because our hours of operation and our operations as a whole, port-wise and grid-wise, we still remain in effect. It's status quo, as they've been saying week after week. But as Fred mentioned, we should expect about a 35% decline across the board here in Pharr, specifically for traffic across the board.
All right. I heard what Fred mentioned as far as this past 2 weeks of April, but is that what it represents, about 35% of what you've seen in the past 2 weeks?
Yes, sir. That's what we're calculating, and we're working closely with with Eddie Gutierrez, our financial consultant, to develop an analysis of where we might be, 3 months from now and then 6 months from now towards the end of the fiscal year.
I would brace for it to be slightly higher than that, only because the beginning of the month people were bracing for Easter, and that means that there's pools, right? As we head into the end of April, there's absolutely on a normal year, there's no ad periods or promotional periods until Memorial Day. Now, maybe this is more for the ag side or the consumption of fruits and vegetables or just food in general. But I would probably say that 35% is good, but we should probably forecast something a little bit more conservative because there's no trends that could actually impulse buying until around the 15th of May in grocery stores.
That's a good point. Mr. Martinez, we'll take that into consideration in our analysis. We'll reach out for further clarification if needed.
Beto Campero has a comment.
It's a little bit like what Tony says because a lot of the trend went from what I noticed in the trucking side and the warehousing side in the U.S. and then in Mexico is that the trend went that Florida was shutting down, then New York shut down, and California shut down because that's where the population is the highest. So you couldn't deliver there, and that's like 30% of the U.S. population. So it started coming from up north to down, and now it's happening in Mexico. So Mexico didn't start shutting down until April. They started forcing some industries to shut down. So I think your trend hasn't, the volumes you see in March, they haven't been affected with the bridge until you're going to see them in April.
Exactly.
So and a lot of them are closing down since right now. And right now, the good thing is that all the automotive is going to jump back up on the 4th of May. So, and then the AMLO also said that he's going to support the U.S. automotive industry and he's going to let those be essential companies. And so the Mexican suppliers are going to be able to ramp up again. So the numbers for April are going to be very, very down since the number one industry in Mexico is automotive. So it's going to hurt and a lot. The good thing is that the exchange rate went from 19 to 24 pesos. So now it's 20% cheaper to buy stuff in Mexico. So in all honesty, it should go down for April, but I estimate it's going to ramp up again because all those guys shut down for a month and they got to make up all the volume that they lost for that whole month. So whenever I talk to all these clients and suppliers, they tell me that it messes up all the supply chain, but it's going to reactivate and they got to work double to make up the month they lost the productivity. So, I mean, it should pick up a lot because it's 20% cheaper now in Mexico. The way Luis says, the USMCA is going to be signed again in about a month or two. So all those factors are going to come into play. So it all depends how we're going to be prepared for when it comes back. I think with a vengeance. So hopefully it's just 1 month that we're going to see a downturn, but it's going to come back up in May, June.
And that's a good point. But, again, I'm playing devil's advocate. Consumption is down. And the cars at the end of the day, there's no lines at the dealerships right now for people buying cars. And with the unemployment rate rising, I think the automobile industry, even if they go back to work, the output or at the consumer level, they're still not buying. So it's good that they're going back to work. I'm not saying it's not, but it's going to take a while for the normal trend to get back.
It's going to take a while, Tony, but it's 20% cheaper now. They're giving 0% financing at the dealerships now. And then one of the biggest factors for buying a car is the price of gas. And the price of gas is down. So because nobody wants to buy a car if you're going to pay $200 in gas a week and instead of $100 in gas a week. Now it's cheaper to buy a car now. So hopefully all those things gonna help stimulate it. Huh? I'm not saying it's a sure thing, but there's a lot of factors in play that are benefiting it for it to reactivate quick. And besides all the stimulus money that the government's giving is also helping. So we just gotta be just week per week and month to month to see how it's going.
Yeah, the only thing is the unemployment rate continues to rise. So that's gonna, at the end of the day, $1,200 isn't gonna give you the buying power when
but the PPP loan,
it just keeps happening. For business,
yeah. All right. Do we have any comment? Well, I guess we want to be conservative and hopeful at the same time if that can be achieved. And we're just hoping everything that the federal government is doing in the state and ourselves will help us. We're not in a good position right now, but the economy was in a very good position before. So we're all hoping it's not going to be what it was, like it happened with a lot of industries, like it happened with the oil industry, a few years back, and as it reached a peak. But hopefully there's a lot of people that we're there's a lot of us that are going to learn from this, and we're going to do a lot of things a lot different. And by that I mean the way you ship your product, the way you package your product, the way you sell it, and ultimate. Some of these auto industries are also gonna change who they buy the product from, like Beto was saying, and I think that might patch the fact that the volumes are not gonna be the same. They might think twice about buying from Asia than they are from buying from Mexico at this point. So hopefully that would help us. And if there's no more questions or comments, we can move to the next item, which is item B, the finance report for February. Finance report for February and March 2020. I know we covered some of it right now.
Sure. Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, city administrators, for the record, Luis Bazan, I didn't formally introduce myself. We do have Carla Saavedra on the call in the meeting. In case there are any particular questions, what I can tell you right now is that we're about 50% of our budget usage. Obviously, due to this current situation, we're experiencing some loss, but we're also experiencing some savings. Obviously, we're not traveling. Obviously, we're not doing the big promotional stuff that we were doing last year with billboards and things like that. That strategy had already changed. So we're looking more towards social media and obviously word of mouth. And we continue with our Bridge Connect sessions. Now we're doing Bridge Connect Live. We had a very successful event last week. That's part promotion, part outreach, and this is also going to help us in that vein. But at the end of the day, when it comes to finances, finances are tracking well, and we're working again very closely, not just with our finance director at the city, but also with our finance consultant to ensure that we land on track by the end of the fiscal year, but more importantly also that we budget appropriately for next fiscal year due to what's currently to the current situation.
All right. Do we have any questions? Okay, if we don't, we're going to go ahead and move to line item C, which is the engineer's report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, city administrators, we do have Maria Rangel in place of Omar Anzaldúa, city engineer. In case there are any particular questions regarding our projects, real quick, we are about 3 weeks out from the completion of our offices, of our renovations at the offices. But that doesn't mean that we're going to be able to occupy the building right away. There is another change order that's taking place right now. We're waiting on the new Holt generator, gas generator. So we're not going to be able to occupy until we're complete with the change order number 3. And then we just placed the order for the furniture as well. So that's about another 4 to 6 weeks. With shipping the way it is right now, with freight movement, it might be pushed out to an extra couple of weeks to 8 weeks, according to the furniture vendor. But we're still tracking well. If you've been to the building recently, it looks very different. The office space, it's much needed space. The conference room, we'll be able to do much more with that. And we'll have all the bells and whistles to be able to have these types of meetings in a more effective manner if the need arises, or to visit with customers in the future as well. Instead of having to travel, we can meet this way as well. But other than that, DAP 15, the project goes for the inbound commercial entry lanes and inbound commercial exit lanes. That project was awarded. It looks like we'll be going through the vetting process soon and hopefully breaking ground soon on those projects. So, it's fair to say that regardless of the current situation, City of Pharr as a whole, if you see, there's plenty of construction going out there. Construction permits are still being issued, and we're not stopping short of anything when it comes to our developments. Our bridge projects are continuing as planned. And then, you'll be hearing more about that as we continue moving forward. So that'll make our customers happy, because I know a lot of our customers have been waiting for these projects to start taking shape, at least to move some dirt. When it comes to DAP 16, we won't be doing any going out for bids until next year, because there's a bidding process that needs to take place along with the state, with TxDOT. So we don't want to interfere with that. And on top of that, we have to stagger our projects. We don't want too many things going on at the same time. But that's coming in the future as well. Unless Maria wants to add any technicalities to my report, that's pretty much it for the engineer's report.
It looks good. Thank you, Luis.
Okay. All right, if we don't have any questions or comments, we're gonna go ahead and go to line item D, which is the director's report. And Luis is gonna help us with that.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, city administrators, I've already mentioned a few things in my introduction report. I think one of the biggest things for us now, as we face this together, is the fact that, you know, now more than ever, I'm so excited and so happy that we started Bridge Connect 5-6 years ago, because that's been the way we engage with our public. That has been the way we engage with our customers, with our end users, and that is the way we keep them informed of what's going on. So last week, I decided to have a Bridge Connect live session that now will be a weekly Bridge Connect live session. We do bring in the panelists. I know Edgar did participate last week. We had CBP, we had TxDOT, or actually DPS, and we also had our police department, because as you could imagine, there was a lot of questions about, you know, what's going on at the border, what types of questions are they asking, will I be able to cross if I'm not an essential, you know, customer, that sort of thing, or essential worker, critical infrastructure type situation. So we wanted to clear the smoke a bit. I think the different cities, you know, some of our trade, even though it crosses through here, they live in other cities, neighboring cities, so their rules are a little bit different. So people were getting pulled over, and the officers were determining what was essential and non-essential, regardless of the fact that the customer had a letter indicating they were essential. So again, we wanted to clear the smoke, and I think it went very well. We had, I think, at the peak of the program, we had about 109 attendees. So that's average for us for a regular Bridge Connect. So we're hoping that number will increase for this next one. We're hosting it tomorrow, Thursday, and that is going to be part 2. So we're titling it Bridge Connect Live Part 2, the effects of COVID-19 on trade from an industry perspective. So for this, as you'll be able to see on the flyer, the invite, we're inviting our different trade associations. You know, we mentioned Maquila, we mentioned produce, we mentioned automotive. All those three will be there, along with customs brokers and transportation from both sides of the border, Mid-Valley Customs Brokers Association, Canacar, Agentes Aduanales de Reynosa, even the Texas International Produce Association. So again, we hope to get another perspective there, because there are things also changing with this. You know, as we know, the tomato suspension agreement came into effect on April the 4th. So what does that mean? That almost 80%, or at least 80% of the tomato shipments, or any variety of tomato, those types of produce products, are being inspected at a higher level. Now, my understanding is that it might not be happening across the board at all ports of entry, so that's something we're still trying to figure out. But there are going to be, as we've been saying, you know, since this started, probably more questions than answers, but we're trying our best to keep the trade informed, and I think Bridge Connect Live is the next big thing for us as we continue moving forward, not just for promotion, but for outreach as well.
All right, do we have any questions?
And we'll take some suggestions for the third one. I know this will be the second one. We'll take suggestions for the next perspective on the third week going forward.
I think, Luis, one of the things that we had talked about.
No, Luis, just good job to you and the team.
Yes, thank you. It's a team effort. Everybody's pulling their weight. You know, we always have, but now more than ever, we're coming together on this.
What I was going to mention, Luis, that you know, and it's something that we were talking about earlier in the day of the first meeting, was maybe for the next panel, bring some of the people that work at the bank, or maybe SBA, because I know there's a lot of people that have questions on their PPP or PPI, or the relief.
The payroll protective loans.
I know there's a lot of people that have applied, but there's a lot of people that still have doubts of what they're supposed to do to follow with it, or follow through, or follow up. So if we can get somebody that can help us with our role, it might be a good option for the third one.
Yes, sir. I'll be happy to coordinate that with the chamber. I know Rebecca Arizmendi, our chamber director. I know she's been doing those seminars since day one. So I'll be happy to see if we can coordinate something where we can have her there or have the folks from the Small Business Administration as well to clarify some things. I've heard the same thing, but like anything, this is all new. You talk about stimulus checks, same thing. I think that's been ongoing questions. When will I receive my stimulus check? That sort of thing. So right now we're trying to figure out when these approvals for these loans are going to go through and who actually will get authorized for that loan. I believe there's a set of questions, certain requirements, but again, I'll be happy to also clarify on that, and for the part three, we'll coordinate something with the chamber for that.
And maybe also the state, there's some news that the state's also helping with some type of funding or emergency funding. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the extent of the amount is or who qualifies for it, but maybe we can get some information. That also would work.
Sure thing. I'll coordinate with Cynthia Garza and go from there.
All right. If we don't have any more comments, you have anything else on your report, Luis?
No, sir. Not at this time.
Okay, we're gonna go to item 3. Administrative, and line item A is the approval of minutes for February 19, 2020, and we need a motion.
No motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Martinez.
Second.
Second by Mr. Campero. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. And then we have line item B, which is the discussion and action, if any, on Border Trade Alliance BTA 2020 membership silver patron level renewal. This item was tabled. We need to untable it if we want to talk about it. But Luis, do you have any information on this you want to share? Is there anything going on?
Yes, it needs to be a motion to be untabled. Correct, Patricia?
That's correct.
Okay. We need a motion to untable it so Luis can give us an explanation.
A motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Martinez.
Second.
Second by Mr. Campero. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Luis, can you share with us on that line item B?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So, as you recall, during the last meeting that when we brought this up, there was still some lack of clarity as far as what was going on within the Border Trade Alliance. At that time, there was also some issues where we were talking about maybe disbanding or maybe making it, a South Texas Border Trade Alliance versus a national and international alliance. Obviously, we've been members of this alliance for many years, even in the past. What this does for us at the $10,000 level, as it did for the last few years, it gives us a place on the board. But more importantly now, this will allow me to be a part of the governing body. So not just the board, but part of the executive board. So there's a chairman, there's a vice chairman, and there's a secretary. I've been asked to be put on as secretary for the next 2 years with Border Trade Alliance. I think it's a great platform, particularly now. A lot of the updates that you get from me come from the Border Trade Alliance with regards to USMCA, with regards to trade matters, the state of trade as a whole. So I think it's important for us. This has been brought up with leadership. We've discussed it. I think we've all come to terms that this is a good position for us. It's a great opportunity, especially now during these trying times.
Okay, so we need a motion.
Luis, real quick, where is this alliance? Where's it located, and what affiliates do they have?
So the Border Trade Alliance was started back in 1994, previously to 1994, before the first NAFTA agreement. So the folks that came together at the time to arm this group, to put together this group, they were pretty much instrumental in ensuring that the first trade deal between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada was signed into an agreement. So that is a product of the Border Trade Alliance. In the recent years, they've established a Border Trade Alliance International in Mexico, so they have their own board as well. But again, this is nationwide, and these are folks that are on the Hill. They're in D.C. The director for the Border Trade Alliance, she is constantly in D.C. on the Hill, ensuring that our voices are heard, that our issues are being listened to, and this is across the board. When we're talking about the same thing, the tomato suspension agreement, when we were talking about the ELD, the electronic login device, all those issues are political issues or government issues that have come up within the Border Trade Alliance, and they've been instrumental in helping us get through the next steps.
Yeah, but like, who are the members? Are they custom brokers, truckers?
They are from all walks of life, Mr. Compero. They are like us. So, you know, like our board is a perfect example. You have logistics folks, you have folks that are more inclined to be experts in the maquila automotive industry, then you have your produce experts. There's customs brokers, importers, exporters, you name it. It's a variety of folks that are on this board from all walks of life.
Okay. Okay.
Trade related, of course. All walks of life in trade.
Luis, can we leave this tabled, or do we have to vote on it already?
It's up to the board. I mean, we've left it. I know I recently was contacted about it, and my understanding is we were going to align ourselves with the city on this. So we should be good to go, but due to the current situation, I understand if you choose to table it again or leave it tabled.
I mean, I think it's fine. I just wanted to know how the members or how we could help participate, because any publicity is good publicity, especially right now. So I mean, I just want to know who are the members, how many members are they based out of?
I can get you all the details, but I mean, if you look at the list, there's at least 50 top members. When you look at the executive table, I mean, when I've been to their board meetings, there's at least 50 persons on the table. Those are your executive board and your main folks.
Their meetings were anything based out of?
No, they meet everywhere. So, for example, they had a very good representation recently due to the current chairperson in the San Diego region, California region. Now that has shifted towards the South Texas region. So obviously we're going to start seeing more of that here close by. But again, at the end of the day, this is for government affairs as they relate to trade, and the folks, more importantly, are on the Hill. They're in D.C. And they're taking care of business over there for us. Again, the major announcements that I send to the board and to our customers with regards to USMCA, some of the biggest matters, trade matters for us, come directly from the Border Trade Alliance.
Okay.
I would suggest we can table it for another month, just to try and give us time to get back. I mean, everybody else can. You know, maybe you guys suggest something differently, but the associations that we've put forth have a white paper from the city of Pharr, which means that they know what the legislative agendas are. Now, I'm not a legislative agenda person, but you know, I just think that because of everything that's going on right now, we just really need to make sure that we're on the same page with everybody, because I'm very critical of BTA because of who is in the valley representing their interest and not really the interest of the city of Pharr. But again, that's me being very critical of the history of the association.
Because the one thing, Tony, the thing is Luis is the captain of the ship, and they're going to make him secretary of that board. So I mean, that offer doesn't go very often. So I mean, if he's asking for our support, I think we should help.
Yeah, and we're not saying no. I'm just suggesting that it be tabled another month, because as just like in the previous time, we've asked for more information, and more information has been coming out. So in the end, I don't think we're going to say no, because we've been on board as platinum members. I think if anything, we've increased our memberships to them, which is good. But I think we need to do our due diligence and make sure that we're getting everything that we can, because like I said, I think some of this was discussed in executive session, but we just have to make sure that the city's interest is really taken into account moving forward.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, you know, this was a discussion already at the leadership level with the city, so it was pretty much a green light. But again, we'll wait for the consensus of the bridge board as an advisory moving forward. And if you so choose to table it, we can table it. There's not much more information out there other than what we have currently. But I understand that the legislative agenda is going to be shifting. It's going to be changing due to the current situation. So I could also understand tabling it at least for another month, just to see how things go, and then we'll go from there. There's no rush.
That's the only recommendation, because they know the money is good. They know we don't have an interest in not being members. But the big thing is this: we have to be realistic about this. Everybody, every city, every member has their own agenda, and at least the associations that I know I'm in charge of, the United Fresh and TIPA, they have a white paper of what the city of Pharr legislative agendas are. So, we just have to be very diligent and make sure that we're on the same page when it comes to these things.
Sure thing.
Well, we need a motion to either approve or not, but I'm one to think that when people don't have your same agenda, sometimes you want to have them closer. And if we can have Luis in it, well, but it's, just,
and I think now more than ever, I think they need us as well as we would need them. Not anybody in particular, but just the association as a whole, for credibility purposes, that sort of thing. It is the only national, it's not the only tri-national association. There's NASCO as well. But at the end of the day, again, I think due to the current circumstances, a lot of folks are putting things on hold. My thing is, there are certain things we can't put on hold, but there are other things that we need to, pull the trigger on in order to continue. Especially as I mentioned earlier, we're trying to get more bang for our buck when it comes to not just the promotion, but also the outreach. If anything, I could, see if there's any type of, like you said, white paper representing the city's legislative concerns. But that's why we also have Cynthia Garza at the mayor's office taking care of those issues, and we'll be happy to coordinate that as well.
That's my point. So that's a contradiction right there, because a lot of, and I'm just speaking from the ag front, guys, but there's a lot of this that goes into the Camargo Bridge, because they have a very deep-rooted interest in this association, and I think this is something that can be discussed. That's my point. That's my point. But if if our response is, well, it's Cynthia Garza's job, our legislative affairs, then we're not on the same page, because any association that the city's a member of should have our white paper, and they should know what the legislative agenda is. But again, I think this is some information that we can discuss over in executive session.
Who was that?
But in this case, Tony, he's going to be on that board, and they're going to make him the secretary, so he's going to be in the know-how. So it's different.
Not really, because any association should have the same agenda, or they should be aware of what the agenda is. I don't think we have to wait to be on the board in order to be it. Again, we're probably gonna move forward. I'm not saying we're not. I'm just saying we table it to make sure that we have everybody on the same page. Because it happened the previous year, and maybe not everybody got the memo about it. I know I heard something very different. So again, this is more just to kind of CYA to make sure everybody's in the chain is on the same page. So if we can table it, great. I mean, if you can't, and this is something that has to be dire, but I mean, they know we're good for the money, and I think right now more than anything, the commitment is what they want. I think we've been committed to BTA. That's for sure.
All right. Well, we need a motion either to table or to approve. I move to approve. Luis is going to be part of the board, but I don't know if that's part of the package.
Luis, do we know if you're going to be part of the board for sure?
Oh, yes, for sure. For sure. That's already been discussed. Like I said, that's already been, it's been at least over a month since we've discussed that. And I've talked to the folks and I've talked to the leadership. So, like I said, it was, to me, it was kind of like a green light. But I could understand also due to the current situation, putting things on hold.
I think I'm with you with this one, Edgar. I'm moving.
We have a motion by Mr. Flores. I second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carries. We're gonna go to, line item, sorry, lost track of my,
It's B. It should be C, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it's, line item C, which is discussion and action, if any, on the renewal proposal for Juana or Roxana for road signs in Reynosa. This item was tabled. We also need a motion to untable and discuss it.
A motion.
A motion by Mr. Flores. I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi, you've reached Lauren Connolly. I can't come to the phone right now. Please leave your name and number, and I'll get back to you.
What was that?
Record.
No idea.
Okay. Okay, so
all in favor, motion carries. We have, we gotta untable the line item C. Go ahead, Luis. I don't know if you have any details. I know that we're gonna re-quote or represent on this one. I don't know if you got that already.
Yes, we figured it out. So also due to the same circumstances and the fact that we're trying to, use our dollars wisely when it comes to promotion of the Pharr Bridge. This is something that was twofold. This is something that at one time it became more of a promotional strategy, not just for our customers, but also on the tourism side. Obviously, right now we don't have tourism, and we haven't had a lot of tourism since last year because of the immigration crisis that hit us. So that's when we started seeing our tourism numbers decline, or our automotive or POV numbers on the decline. But what we did is we talked to the folks, and same thing, we kind of went back and forth on this with the leadership at the city level to ensure we're doing the right thing, to find out if this is something that we actually wanted to keep. So right now, what the offer is, if you look at your packet, it's basically, we put two contracts into one. So one contract already ended in February. That was a contract where we were paying $3,750 a month for signage leading to and from the bridge, and also for other signs of certain stores and hotels and things like that in the city of Pharr, pointing people in this direction. The second contract ends in August of this year, and that's the smaller one. That's for almost $600 a month. So what we did is we talked to this person and we said, hey, can you kind of put things together? We just want to have one contract,
Lost you, Luis.
Frozen.
Lost you, Luis. Everybody hear Luis or no?
Nope.
I can't hear him.
I can't hear him either.
You got frozen.
I can't hear him. Luis, call in on your phone if you can hear.
Somebody didn't pay Spectrum.
right, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
It looks like we
I can
had
Yeah, we hear you.
everybody on? It looks like we had some technical difficulties and something got disconnected.
We lost you at, that you wanted to have one contract too, Luis.
Yeah, so what we did is we merged the contracts, that way we can have one. And basically what it is, it's giving us a savings of about $1,500, close to $1,600 a month. So we'll only be paying $2,750. And this again will give us, as you can see in there, there's different levels of signage or different sizes of signage. There's 3 of the bigger signs. There's 1, 7, and 10. And again, these are signs that we had put together a while back. This was the second time around with this vendor, so that we could ensure that our customers had accurate information or directions to get to the Pharr Bridge. And then more importantly, we tagged on the whole, traffic sign type of situation where it leads people in the right direction, leading them to Pharr. And we even had signs. Some of these signs are even close to other neighboring bridges on the Mexico side. So these signs are all in Mexico. You can call them billboards, call them whatever you want, but these are just again promotional signs. And again, if we go with this contract, if the board chooses to, we'll be saving about $1,600 a month, and we'll only have one contract.
All right, so your recommendation, Luis?
Do we still get,
My recommendation. Go ahead.
do we still get the same amount of signs for that contract, combining both contracts?
What's that again?
Do you still get the same amount of signs by combining both contracts?
Yes, so as a matter of fact, I think we actually added a couple more signs to that with this new one. So the first contract, the bigger one, ended back in February of this year. And then the next one, if we choose not to go with this new situation or this new promotion or proposal, it'll end in August of this year.
Okay. No, just right now there's good pricing in Mexico because of the exchange rate. I'm telling you by experience. Right now, you can get a good deal because right now you get more bang for your dollar.
Correct. Yeah, and we were paying close to $3,000 a month just on a regular billboard here that wasn't really serving any purpose. Era más como un capricho, como dicen. Pero this one, I think we have something good with this vendor. We've been working with this vendor for at least 6 years since I've been here. We were already on board when I came on board. So it's given us some results, and I think now more than ever, again, going back to the situation, we're saving elsewhere, and we're developing that analysis to show you the savings when it comes to marketing, when it comes to advertising, promotion, things of that nature. So this will give us something at least to keep working towards as we develop our social media platform strategy.
All right. I guess
We're saving how much a month, please?
It's $1,600 a month. $1,500. So previously, we were paying $3,750 a month for one contract and $600 for the second contract. So it was a total of $4,345.
And I think most of
we're saving about $18,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think what we're mostly trying to achieve right now is to keep the spots that we currently have.
Yes.
Because if we were not to renew maybe on a restructure like the way we're doing, we lose the spot to whoever they can sell it to. And if we need later on, we're all hoping things will change around and we can get more car traffic, and maybe we need to go back to the old signs that we had. Well, not the old signs, but make a modification. At least we already have the locations that we're always looking for, right? So
that's an $18,000 savings. I mean, that's good. Mm-hmm. And all because we tabled it that 1 month. That's good.
Mm-hmm. You're correct. So and those are two excellent points: the savings plus the fact that it did take a long time to get us the signage closer to some of the neighboring bridges. I'm not going to mention any names because they sit on property belonging to those owners of those bridges. So if we let go, obviously that's something that somebody else can take advantage of, and we want to make sure that we continue with this.
All right, so we need a motion to,
A motion to approve.
we have a motion by Mr. Campero to approve,
Second.
second by Mr. Flores. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And, I'm sorry, my phone closed up on it. And, that's all we got, Luis?
I have just one last thing, and this is just a quick reminder to everyone. This is something that we're helping out the city with. We're all in this together as far as the census. Census is very important. There's a task force that was put together by the city last year for the census. We all need to be counted. We all need to be a part of this. I now, as I mentioned, we're also doing the outreach for this during the Bridge Connect live sessions. We're making a big push for it, just doing our part. So for all of you on the board, I highly recommend, obviously, that if you live in Pharr or any of the neighboring cities, obviously, you do fill out the census, but more importantly, if you live in Pharr, and also to push it out to the people that you know, to your customers, to your relatives, to anybody that is within your network, so that we can all make sure that we answer the questionnaire and we get counted. More importantly, now more than ever, like I mentioned during the Bridge Connect session, most folks unfortunately are at home right now, so you do have time to answer the census, and it's just a big push for that, and I highly recommend everybody make a big push on their end.
All right. So I guess we make a note and ask everyone to fill out their census now they're at home, to take advantage, not just in the city of Pharr, but anywhere you might live. It's important under regular conditions, especially what we're going through right now. So, yeah, I guess the next motion is to adjourn. We need a motion to adjourn.
A motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Martinez, second by Mr. Campero. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, everyone, for helping us put this meeting together. Luis, your staff, everybody at the city, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Bye.